This is Stillwell Woods Preserve to be precise. Located in Syosset, Long Island, this is a 270-acre multi-use park. Baseball, soccer, RC planes, walking paths, and a mountain bike trail. This is the trail where Seth from Burn Peak cut his teeth. I also frequently ride here. But the first time I rode Stillwell was 25 years ago. Not a whole lot has changed. It's still challenging, washed out, frustrating at times, but incredibly fun. Now this is the bike I rode the trail on 25 years ago. It's a 1999 Marin East Peak. And while some things have changed, some of it is bone stock, just like the Fox Vanilla shock. Now some things have been changed, well, upgraded. There's a new wheel set, a new fork, new mechanical discs, 1x12 drivetrain, and a super light Thompson seat post that's not a dropper. Some of the new items I'm talking about have been on the bike like 20 years probably, like the mechanical disc brakes and the RockShox silo shock. It's been a long time since I've been at Stillwell with this bike, but I'm going back and I'm going to bring you along with me. But I usually ride. It's a 29-inch Intense Primer 29. Now the first thing we got to do is get this beast ready to ride. It hasn't been aired up in a while and the rear tire is totally flat, and I don't think that there's enough air in the shock. I'm going to test the brakes and just make sure everything is kind of tight before I head out there, because once I get there, there's no going back. The East Peak is an all-aluminum frame, 26 inches, and it weighs in at 30.91 pounds. Not bad. So here we are, 25 years later. Pretty close to 25 years to the date. We're certainly in the first month that I ever rode Stillwell on that exact bike. Now back then there were pretty much 3 main trails you could ride that were worth anything. You had Rocky Point, you had Cathedral Pines, and you had Stillwell. Stillwell was the hardest short technical trail on Long Island. Rocky Point was the big long trail. It was 28 plus miles. Cathedral Pines was sort of the new exciting trail. But this is the one you went to when you wanted a little bit more tech. So 25 years ago with this bike, almost exactly this bike. Same frame, same fork, same cable disc brakes, same fixed dropper seat, pretty much the same everything. Look, we got the same Fox vanilla, we got the same stem, the same skinny bars. I don't know, I think these are probably under 700. These are probably 650, maybe. So we've done some upgrades since then. We've got a new crankset on, we got a 1x12 drivetrain going on, and we got some new wheels. So we got some WTB tubeless wheels, and we got some tubeless tires on there. So the tires are definitely fatter. I still have the original tires, they're 1.9s. So what's it like riding this thing? Well, you know, it's good because it reminds me of the old bike. It's bad because it is the old bike. It is very precise with steering. I mean, with those narrow bars and this head tube angle, when you turn, it turns. When you don't want to turn, it's a little jittery. You know, I guess back then that was okay. There were a lot of trails that had little skinny trees in between, but nowadays, you know, it'll freak you out a little bit, especially if you're not used to riding it. What else is different? There's much less travel. You definitely notice it in the rear. You don't notice it in the front so much. The silo, I think, had 140, and I put one of those little rubber cable ties on there. You see, I didn't even use all the travel, so there's really no problem. You know, a lot of people say they're over-biked. A lot of people are over-forked. Because let me tell you, that fork right there did everything I needed it to. It was plush, it was fine, there were no issues. So you can see we're at a crossroads here. We got a trail this way, we got a trail that way. I'm also at a crossroads with this bike. And while not an easy decision, I think the right thing to do is put this thing up on the wall and just look at it, remember the old times, because riding my new Intense or any other bike I have is much better than riding this. While this is more exciting, you know, it's kind of like exciting in a bad way because it's exciting, sort of feels dangerous. I don't know, maybe it's just me. It kind of feels a little loose, a little sloppy. It's a little sketchy around the turns, a little sketchy on the downhills, and that's not just because it has a dropper or the narrow bars, it's just the geometry of the frame. I mean, this is a large. I feel like a giant on this. I feel ridiculous. I feel like this bike is too small. It wants to pull up really easily, so I mean, if you're looking to jump, you want to take that out. If you're looking to ride on a trail, you give that to your cousin that's just stopping by, you know what I'm saying? So, there we are. I'm gonna go continue the ride, and we'll wrap this up in a little bit. Hey, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and I'll see you out on the trail.